Welcome to As the Chakras Spin, a podcast that connects life's experiences as they relate to the 7 major chakras physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, and spiritually. I am your host, Tashi K.D. Cooper. Peace and light, everyone. My name is Tashi K.D. Cooper, and I am the vibrational midwife, aka Reiki Woman. Yeah. We're back, y'all. We are back with another episode of As the Chakras Spin. This is our 23rd episode. And you know what? I love this because the number 23 vibrates with the number 5. 5 represents change. And we're talking about the throat chakra today, which is the 5th chakra. I love that alignment. So anyway, like I said, throat chakra energy today. If you are new to the podcast and you do not know what energy is or what a chakra is, there will be a link in the description that you can click on to give you a general overview, okay? So the throat chakra is located at the center of the throat. It has a front component and a back component. The color is blue, all right? Body parts associated would be ear, nose, and throat, your mouth, your neck, and the tops of your shoulders, okay? And do know that the lists are not exhaustive, okay? There may be more body parts, and now I'm about to list some qualities, but it may not be all of the qualities. So some qualities are speaking up for yourself, good communication skills, the quality of your voice. Can people hear what you're saying? Do you have good listening skills? Courage lives here, self-expression, or did I say self-expression? Self-empowerment, but yes to self-expression. And let me say self-expression with how you feel about life or a particular topic, but also self-expression in how you wear your clothes, how you express your love, self-expression through your work. Okay, and it takes courage and self-empowerment to share your authenticity, which is another quality, being authentic. Okay, speaking the truth lives here. So those of you who tell little white lies or just lie in general, that throat chakra may be blocked a little bit. Okay, so those are some of the qualities associated with the throat chakra. Okay. Now, if you're watching, you're wondering, who's the handsome king, right? And if you're listening and you've been following, you know I got a guess. You know I have a guess. Well, Winston A. Benons Jr. is an interdisciplinary artist, cultural strategist, scholar, and educator whose work explores the embodied archives as a site of memory, identity, and cultural knowledge. He is the founder and director of tRúe Culture and Arts and the voice behind the Culturalist, a platform for cultural analysis and exchange across the arts and education. He holds a master's degree in humanities from the University of Chicago, and his work spans performance, visual art, and curatorial practice. Do not come from me for that word, y'all, okay? I tried, okay. His series, Conversations with Rothko, inaugurated at the Smart Museum of Art in Chicago. It investigates movement, breath, and sound as forms of dialogue between art, work, performer, and audience. I'm gonna need you guys to please put your hands together for my friend and super cool human being, Winston Benons. Woo! Hi,
Hi,
Winston.
Tashi. It's great to be here.
I am so excited and delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for making space for As the Chakras Spin. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yes, so audience. I met my guest back in the late 90s when I lived in New York. If you've been following the podcast, the oh so beautiful Jackie Reed from Trinidad, who works in the financial services, she was with me with the root chakra. Well, she introduced us. And prior to the introduction, she would tell me about this super cool friend she had, and she felt that we would get along well. She was totally right. Meeting Winston was definitely like meeting a kindred spirit. Okay? Being his friend was so easy. Do you get that,
I
Winston?
do. Absolutely.
It was so easy. And I am pretty slow, y'all, to let folks in. I just don't let people in. Even back then, I was younger. Like now, it's just like um, a little guarded, I would say, because I'm more sensitive to energies now. But even back then, before I became, let's say, really into energy and chakras, I still was slow to let people in, but not with Winston. And I'm so glad that we are friends, Winston. You have no idea. So it was like meeting Winston was like meeting up with a childhood friend that I lost contact with because I relocated, like moved residences, right? And the way our energy is, it was like I moved, the relocation was from the spiritual realm to this physical realm, just the way we rock, you know? And I feel the same for the oh so beautiful Jackie Reed. I feel like we've all been friends in like another realm. Okay, so anyway, I knew I wanted to interview Winston as it pertains to the throat chakra in regards to the qualities of authenticity, courage, self empowerment, self expression through his work, and effective communication as it pertains to listening, nonverbal and verbal cues, and saying what's on his mind. Okay, Winston,
Yes.
I have always appreciated your confidence, authenticity, and your chameleon like adaptability when it comes to your work. And, audience, I need you to know that you're in the company of a multi dimensional being right now. Okay? Respect. Straight
Thank
up.
you.
Yes. I'm going to take us back before we talk about the
Okay.
now. Winston, when I met you, you were working in corporate America in financial services. And I love that you not only appreciated the arts and attended shows, but that you also love to dance, have fun, and aspire to be in shows. Multi-dimensional authenticity, y'all. And this is just the beginning. So I have a multi-part
Okay.
question. One, were there any role models from your family, community, or former teachers that encouraged you directly or indirectly to seek employment in corporate America, or was it something that you came up with on your own?
Yeah. I would say that it's my parents. And I think as a
Okay.
first generation American, I think when you have parents, not grandparents, like not second generation, but when you're first generation and your parents made the choice to leave a country that they know, a society that they know and fully understand, to go someplace else because they feel that there are opportunities there that they don't have where they grew up, where they were born.
Yeah.
They come and there's an openness, but also I don't want to say being closed, but I want to say being specific, a specificity that happens, right? And but
Sure.
it's also informed by what they know, right? So, you know, in the Caribbean, there are artists. We see it, right? There are artists everywhere.
Okay.
But building a life as an artist there is not the same as building a life as an artist in the United States. And so building a life there can be very, very difficult in terms of just access to money, which means you don't have access to
Sure.
all of the other things. So
Yes.
the society supports the arts. From the time you're little, the arts in many different ways is part of who you are, part of your
Yes.
experience because um, it's about cultivating that kind of multidimensional human being. But in terms of
Okay.
profession, it is
Mm-hmm.
very specific, very much like individuals who are coming from the continent, right? They
Okay.
come here,
Sure.
you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be an engineer. Like it's very specific. I can
Sure.
say that my parents were not, they did not force me to do anything, but they recognized the things that I was good at,
Sure.
and help kind of usher me in those directions because they made such sacrifices to come here and they made sacrifices
Yeah.
to stay here and to learn this new
Yes.
space and they wanted to be successful, right? Every parent wants their children to
Uh-huh.
be successful and to do better than they've done.
Yes.
So with that being said, since I would say in elementary school, it has come up from friends of my parents or a relative who might meet me for the first time, and they would always think that I'm going to be like a lawyer, right? I just had that kind of energy.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
I do like the law. But I do
Okay.
like the law. But what happened is in high school we had a number of programs, one of which um, one of our electives was accounting, and the other one was marketing. I took both of them, and I took them for
Okay.
3 years. And the senior year, there was a the program was in partnership with the Delphi University. So if you took it to that level you were able to graduate high school. I graduated high school with like 2 credits in each marketing and accounting,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so accounting came really easy to me because it's essentially storytelling and reading the story of numbers. Um,
Okay.
and so that was easy to me. So I very
Yes.
much could figure out really quickly what line items I should be putting in, which particular expenses versus this, all of those things. Um, and of course, this
Interesting.
was the time before. I mean, we had computers, but not in the way that we do now, right?
Right. Right.
I mean, we still had typing class, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So you were really working with ledgers, with paper ledgers. That's how
Mm-hmm.
we learned accounting. Um,
Okay.
because of that, I think because of that understanding of numbers, and also because of that kind of energy that people always saw that read lawyer or something like that, I very
Yeah.
I it was easy for me to get jobs in financial services. My first job in high
Financial service.
school was working for the Dime Savings Bank in the filing department, and I was with adults, like I was with 20 something year olds, right? It
Yes.
had to do with the way I carried myself and that kind of understanding. So, yeah.
That says a lot. Yeah, my first job was at McDonald's.
Okay.
I was a cashier. That says a lot. Can you please tell the audience where you're from, your
Oh,
family's
my
from
family's from
originally?
Guyana in South America. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Yes. Okay. So most African Americans who work or worked in corporate America or professional
Mhm.
settings had to learn the art of code switching
Mhm.
and still do, i.e., when and how to be professional
Mhm.
versus being social with professionals outside of work
Mhm.
and just being your authentic self. Like there's always different codes
Right.
when to do what, right? When to wear certain hats, okay? Would you say that your workplace etiquette, your style of dress, your style of communication was taught to you? You learned mostly via observation or a little bit of both?
It was mostly through observation. My mother worked in
Okay.
corporate America, and especially my high school years, if I had a day off from school, I would go into the city and I would meet her and I would go on her floor and she would introduce me to her peers, her colleagues,
Sure.
and so I think that was one of the places that I saw it. So I saw it in my home, but
Yes.
then I saw it in out in the world. Um,
Yes.
so I think that in terms of presentation, in terms of dressing, what's appropriate, I
Yes.
think, and I also think at that time there wasn't a lot of gray area like there is now, right? You know, you
Yeah.
had to wear suits. Men had to wear suits, white shirt or maybe blue shirt, tie. Like that was just what you did. Gray, gray
Yes.
suit, navy blue suit. Like you know what I mean? Not stripes,
Right.
not you know what I
Right.
mean? Like it was very conservative, no matter what position you had, right? And
Right.
um,
I agree.
so it also was clearer to understand at the time. If I were to compare it to young people now, yeah, because now business casual is even more casual than it was when we used to get
Yes.
Fridays casual days, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. I totally
yeah,
agree. Yeah, for me, definitely I want to say first it was seeing my Aunt Barbara, who's my mother's only sister. She was a school teacher, and I would sometimes go to school with her.
right,
And just to watch how she dressed
right,
and then how she interacted with the students. And I'm a little girl, like I'm a little person, like 4, 5, 6, and then we moved away, and then maybe at 10 I'm watching her, so I'm a little more
right.
mature, paying attention. And then also there were times when I would go to my mother's job after
Mhm.
school and I would watch how she was as an executive assistant,
Right,
speaking to her peers and I guess people above
right,
her, and just watching how she dressed. So I'm grateful to have had that, but then also like you, um, once in the place, observing other people around
right,
me,
right.
right? Yeah, and picking up on little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I brought that up because I don't know if it's not modeled
Mhm.
anymore. Like you said, it's such a gray area
It
now,
is.
but it's not as black and white as like you wear this type of work to this type of attire to work
Right,
versus another type.
right.
But I feel like that part of the code is
Yeah,
is blurring out
it is.
as far as dress and communication. I'm not seeing or hearing professionalism all the time.
Right. I mean, something you said triggered another thought that I wanted to say is that I also went to Catholic school for elementary school. So,
Okay.
so from first through sixth grade, I was wearing a uniform, which was gray slacks, white shirt, a plaid tie, a blazer, and or a cardigan,
Okay.
right? And so I think to your point, now
Yeah.
I see less and less students in parochial schools. A lot of them are closing down, right? And I think that
Yes.
there are some independent schools that still have a uniform, but I think the world has changed in such a way that yes, it's just not the same, right? So you're not growing up
It's
with
not the
understanding,
same.
right?
Right, because what I notice even some teachers are wearing is different from what the teachers wore when I was coming up
Yes.
and when I used to teach back in the early 2000s, and things are just like in primary
Right?
school system I used to teach, right? And then I have taught adult learners because audience, you guys know that I'm a former massage therapy instructor. But yeah, the things are
Things
changing.
have changed. They've changed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So while working in corporate America, you started studying and performing different styles of
Hmm.
dance. Will you please share with the audience the different styles of dance that you studied, performed, and now
Hmm.
teach? One, and two, what attracted you to those dance styles?
Oh, I think I'm gonna answer it the other way around because it'll lead to the thing. I think so.
Okay.
Um, I always knew that dance was one of the things that was part of my life, right? As a little kid.
Okay.
I was the person, and actually in kindergarten productions, I was the person that knew my choreography and everybody else's choreography. I knew my lines and everybody else's lines, right? And it
Wow.
wasn't something that, at that age, you're not consciously saying to yourself, I'm going to learn my line, I'm going to learn Jimmy's line, and I'm going to learn Tony's lines, and I'm going to learn, like, you're not. I just absorbed that information and naturally was able to. So I got to the point where I was assisting the teacher, right? Who was doing the
In
production
kindergarten?
in kindergarten. I went to a West Indian kindergarten.
I love it. I
I
love it.
did. I was assisting, and she would often, and I have to say her name, Mrs. Harry. Yeah, she's passed away, but so I have to
Yeah.
say her name. She recognized that thing in me, but also I was the person that would help teach t certain parts, or she would switch me out into parts because I have it and the other person doesn't have it. Even if she wanted me for this part, I could do this.
Wait a minute. Wait. My eyes are tearing right now. You're 5 years old,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Love this. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Go ahead.
So performance and um, embodied literacies, that kind of stuff has always been is a part of the fabric of who I am, and also a part
Okay.
of my work that I'm here to do.
Yes.
I I did not have the opportunity to go to a performing arts school, high school, right?
Okay.
Um,
Sure.
And but I did go to a good school in a good school district, and I got to kind of nurture other talents and skills like accounting and all of those things.
The counting.
So I got
Yes.
to the point
Got it.
where I'm working now in corporate America, and I have my own apartment. Everything is
Mm-hmm.
great, and
Mm-hmm.
funny. I would always read the art section in the New York Times. I was working with a friend of mine who was in theater, and we were trying to develop a show, right? And we were thinking about who could be a good choreographer. Um, and so then I started to clue in more into that world in that way. And there was an article
Yes.
about Ron Brown in the Times. I didn't know who he was at all. That was my first.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, maybe this person might be good." And then his name kept popping up the more I was kind of um, communicating and talking to people more in the dance world. And so ended up taking a
Sure.
class and enjoyed the class, which led me to other classes, West African classes, and Neil Love, another choreographer who fuses like modern dance styles but Afro-diasporic movement as well in a completely different way, and dynamic way.
Yes.
And I did that, and by the end of the summer, I realized that I was taking 4 or 5 classes a week after work, right?
Mm.
And I had to sit with that. I
Right.
had to sit with that. Like, okay, what are you doing? Because that's not a hobby anymore. Like, what are you doing? And I had that
Right.
moment where I was like, okay, you know that this is supposed to be part of your work in some way, and this is supposed to be part of your life. You've
Hmm.
always known that. And you didn't get to go the traditional routes before. And you
Right.
were younger, so you're being guided by, your family and all that stuff. But now you're an
Yes.
adult. So anything you don't do now is on you. It's because of you.
Right. Right.
So I
Right.
said, look, I think there's something here. I'm blessed to live in New York City where there's
Yes.
a million interesting arts people here, and basically designed my own dance program for myself. Um,
Yes.
I would go to work in the day. I would go through do those programs, go do those dance classes at night. Um, to be better at the fusion modern work, I started taking ballet. Um,
Mm.
and then in modern dance, taking Horton and Dunham, modern dance techniques, a little bit of Limon. But in terms of the first styles of dance, I would have to say it was Ran, which is fusion, and then I started going to West African classes, um, and then I layered in Afro-Brazilian classes, and that's where I was. I was in like West African, Afro-Brazilian, modern
Mm.
fusion, taking the ballet to be better at modern dance and doing some Horton. So that was what it was. And for a long time,
Yes.
I've never officially performed West African pieces. I was part of auditions for TV shows or for stage shows doing West African. I did perform
Yeah.
Brazilian. I did perform Afro-Brazilian at Symphony Space, and a lot of fusion work, modern work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And audience, I want you to know that when Winston and I met each other, we were both in corporate America. Was I still in
Yep.
corporate
You
America?
sure were.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I was in corporate America as well, and I had gotten the dance bug
Hmm.
too. And we went in different ways, but kind of end up knowing the same people and were familiar with the same classes. Because I started, I did some West African, and then I went to Dunham,
Hmm.
and I performed
Hmm.
that technique. Say his name with Ned
Williams.
Williams.
Yes.
Yes, yes, and but then I was strictly West African, West African, West African.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was just drawn there, and it's so interesting that our friendship is not part of dance, but dance is within it.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Like we're dancers, but we didn't dance together.
Right.
But we both share the excitement and I don't know the value of it.
Hmm.
Would you say?
Absolutely. I think as people who didn't go through any kind of traditional conservatory like program for dance, um, dance for us in New York City, especially at that time, I think it was a major touch point to culture. It was a major touch point to Afro diasporic culture.
Yes.
And the music, like the drum, you take those classes, you can't help but to respond to the
Yeah.
drums. You can't. Even if you're on the side watching, you
Yes.
can't, and you get to the point, and I know you know this, you get to the point where you can tell when there's absolute synergy between the drummers, the vibration is so
Yes.
high, or when it's okay, or when
Yes.
something is a little off, like even though we're not playing drums, we can feel it and we can tell, we can sense it. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And I didn't have any traditional training either growing up. Like similar to you, it was all just as an adult. I want to say 29 years old,
Mhm.
taking my first dance class. And that class that he spoke about in terms of Ron Brown,
Mhm.
I would go pay my money and watch everyone else dance. I was so intimidated in the beginning of taking that class. I mean, y'all, it was a party every
Yeah.
week, right? It was like a
A
party,
party with
and
technique.
they were having fun. I just say it
A
again.
party with technique.
A party with technique
Yeah.
and technique that I just didn't allow my body to fall within, and I guess I went more African, West African. I was able to pick it up more, but always loved, always appreciated that style,
Yes.
his fusion style, Ron Brown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. So, y'all, during many conversations, I remember, Winston, you used to take off work to attend dance
Hmm.
workshops or intensives
Hmm.
to sharpen your skills, be in community with other dancers, and to just have fun. Well, at some point, together with a business partner, you produced and hosted your own curated workshops and intensives.
Hmm.
How did that feel creating tailored experiences like dance and song workshops for others and yourself to learn from?
Hmm. I think it's an extension of me starting to understand what my role in dance and what my work in dance was to be. So I entered into
Yeah.
it feeling like I'm going to be a dancer, I'm going to be a performer, I'm going to work to get into a dance company, I'm going to do those things. And it slowly became clearer to me that that wasn't my path necessarily, that my path was
Yeah.
to learn the language of dance to do other things, right? So
Okay.
I performed, but I didn't have, my path was not um, train as a dancer, get into a dance company, tour as a dancer, those kinds of things. I wanted that. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's a whole valuable experience.
Sure.
Um, but it became clearer to me that that wasn't my path, right? And
Okay. Okay.
that's not why I was learning dance. And at a certain point, as I was learning Afro-Brazilian and then I moved into Afro-Cuban dance, I started to recognize that my part of my way of learning about the dance was not just learning the history and that stuff of the techniques itself, but it was learning about the culture. I was reading fiction from Brazil to understand the dance because I wanted to understand the
Okay.
people, right?
Yes.
Listening to a lot of different music coming out of and genres of music just for pleasure, but it was all feeding me in a particular way, and which fed into my writing because I didn't mention I was writing creatively before I started dance. I was writing poetry and short story and one act plays,
Mm.
and so that fed into it. So in a lot of ways, I feel like I am one of the things that I am is a writer, and I write in different
Yes.
languages, and some of them are embodied languages,
Mm.
and dance is one of
Oh,
them. Um,
okay.
so by that point, I had already started choreographing. I had started putting together and producing my own like small shows of work that I was doing based off of my experiences and research and field work, all of
Yes.
those things.
Yes.
I was being called to present work in smaller kind of festivals. I was doing that. So by the time I got to creating and curating these experiences, it was just the next natural step for me.
Yeah.
Because I was already doing the work of a scholar and doing the work of a performer and doing the work of a creator at the same
Yes.
time, right? Yeah.
Yes. Because you're that multi-dimensional being that I had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And y'all, Winston can dance.
Oh,
Winston can, oh my goodness. And so there are, and I'm gonna join you with this.
hmm
There are dancers and there are
hmm
performers, and he's both.
Thank you.
He's
Thank
both. And I say I'm going to join you because I feel like I said, I started dance late and I love to dance. And you can tell I love to dance when I'm dancing. There's other people whose technique may be better than mine,
hmm
but I'm a performer.
Right.
And I feel like I would capture the audience with just my antics,
It's the
my big personality when I'm on stage. Once I make it there past the nerves.
right. It's the intentionality and it's the ashe that you're connected to that's in your body, and that is what vibrates outside and people feel and see and are touched by. And
Yes,
that overshadows individuals who may have way more technique but don't have the intentionality or the ashe. Yeah?
yeah,
Yeah.
that certain kind of energy.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that ashe.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Thank
Uh,
you. Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead right here since we're talking about dance and authenticity. Okay, but audience, I will go back in time a little later, okay? Presently, Winston, you are an educator at a private school teaching dance and choreographing dance pieces for the
mhm.
youth. Please share with the audience the age groups you work with, the styles of dance you're currently teaching, and how you promote authenticity to your
hmm
students.
Yes, I am teaching in an independent school, a private school, and
Okay.
I've had the opportunity to teach all the grade levels now in these past 9 years in that institution alone. So
Okay.
I taught I taught grade levels before this, but officially there I've taught K through 12th grade. I
Wow.
started in the middle school and I was there for a couple of years, and then I went to the lower school. I was there for a couple of years, and then I'm in the upper school. And so,
I have a question before
yes,
you continue.
yes,
Did you witness a 5 year old that was similar to you?
not one for one, but
Uh huh.
what I will say is, in their own way, if I answer that question, yes, in their own way, I think
Okay.
one thing, when I started teaching in the K through 12 system, when I started teaching there, because I've taught adults as well, and teach adults as well. Um,
Okay.
yeah, when I started there, I used to avoid teaching the younger grades. I felt like I didn't have the right temperament for it. And
Uh
I
huh.
discovered that what happens is they pull out another side of me that I don't get to access often, right? Because I'm
Okay.
generally a serious person. And as I started teaching the younger grades, like I would be like goofy and be like, yeah, let's go, and then, and kids are in that place, they're so open, right? And
Yes.
so
Yes.
they're ready to roll around and become a star and jump up in the air and do all of those things. And
Yes.
so in those years when I was teaching those grades, I definitely saw a number of students that had that kind of light, the temperature of light that I had. It may
Yes.
be expressed in a slightly different way, but absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely.
Okay, okay.
And yeah, and it's great.
I love
It's
that.
great to see. Now that you asked me that question, and I'm thinking about it, I've
Yes.
seen it also. It pops up a little bit in middle school because in that age range, all of the things are happening, changes in the body and emotions, and
Sure.
we all become a little more closed. And but I've been able to see it spark back up again as they become like a junior or a senior in high school. I've
Ah,
been able to because I taught at Rutgers University and guest lectured at Pace, and I was able to see it in students in college level. I was taught
sure.
open level classes at dance studios, so I was able to see it in professional dancers who might come to the dance studio to take class, or just the regular person who just likes to move. They're not a dancer, right? And
Yeah.
everyone in between. That's the
Yeah.
great thing about open level classes. You get to touch and be in community with everyone in that range. And I've been able to see the sparks, the bright sparks in those ranges too. So I
Yeah.
don't think I've thought about that before, but that question you asked me sparks um,
Okay.
that understanding. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I know I took you
That's
off of the question, but basically, what are the styles of
styles of dance,
dance that you teach, and how do you promote
authentically.
authenticity?
So where
Yeah.
I am now, we have the IB program, which is the International Baccalaureate program, and it's a European designed kind of advanced placement program, right?
Okay.
And I
Okay.
teach that in dance, and for that program, students are assessed in three buckets. They're assessed as performers, they're assessed as choreographers, and then they're assessed in terms of their writing and scholarship, right? So
Okay.
they have to create three dance pieces. One of them has to be a solo that they have to perform. They have to perform other people's work, and then they have to write a comparative essay of one dance style or technique that they know and one that they don't, and do research and write a full-on research paper, and
Wow.
that gets submitted. I assess and grade the performance videos that they submit,
Yes.
but and it could be and it's moderated by the IB program, but the IB program grades the composition, the choreography videos, and the paper. With that being said, I designed the program. I've designed the curriculum for um, ninth and 10th grade, and actually have gone into middle school, seventh and eighth grade, to help support those students, especially support the students that might be going into IB to be able to think about dance in a more expensive way. Um,
Sure.
um, so site specific work, different types of inspiration from other art forms or from other subjects. Yes. Um, and I really enjoy doing that. So I
Yeah.
expose them to my style, which is also fusion for the most part. Um, and then they get some African
Fusion of what for the audience?
fusion
Fusion
of
of what?
what? So it's fusion of modern dance, right? So I have lots of Horton, and I would say the little bit of Graham that I've picked up, Martha Graham technique, and uh, I would say that's mixed in there as well,
Uh-huh.
with Afro diasporic movement. So with more Cuban, I would say consistently more Cuban and some Brazilian dance
Okay.
styles. Sometimes, and I would say colored with some West African, right? And hip
Mm-hmm.
hop, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that's what they get from me. And then we have
Hmm.
guest artists that will come in and teach other dance styles, so they're getting exposed to other dance styles as well. Um,
Okay. Now, do you invite those artists, or as part of the program, someone
oh
else
no,
invite the
we
artists
invite
in?
the artists. So the great thing about IB is that they they break down what is needed, what is expected, what has to be submitted, but we get to design how we're going to prepare those students to be able to meet
Okay.
those goals. You do
Yes.
go through a workshop and you on all of that stuff, but essentially we get to kind of massage that based off of our population and location and all of that stuff. Um,
And where is the school located? Is it in Manhattan,
it's in
Brooklyn,
downtown
Queens?
Brooklyn. Yeah,
Downtown
in downtown
Brooklyn. Okay.
Brooklyn. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we have a
Yeah.
nice
Okay.
we have a
And so, how do you promote authenticity
mhm,
with your
mhm.
students?
Really, I do it. One of the ways that I do it is through getting students to. I do it through improv exercises and getting students
Okay.
to get an understanding of what their authentic movement is, um,
Okay.
and support them in that, and and create an environment where they all feel safe to do that. So,
Yeah.
um, and then point them towards established artists who I think that they would like based off of the way that they move, right?
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
um, so that's definitely one of the ways that I promote it. Or,
Yeah, I like that. I love that. Because I asked that because you're such an authentic person, just and how you move in life in
mhm.
general. Um, and audience, I just want to say this. Winston, I've never taken a class from you. I would love to be one of your students one day. Like if you have,
You wait
yes,
till this age to do that?
I know,
You
but
caught me in my
it's
younger
never too late
years.
though, right? I still get my boogie on.
Okay. I'm talking about my age, not you.
I know, but I left New York
You did.
when you were
You
teaching, I
did.
guess,
Yeah.
because yeah,
Yeah, you did.
I would have loved that.
Yes.
And you never know, it still might
It
happen.
still might happen. Never know.
You never know. We'll be in our 60s, huh?
I know, right?
60s or 70s. I'm not telling our age, but y'all
Exactly.
know how old I
Exactly.
am. Okay, so a few qualities of the throat chakra are courage, like I said earlier, self empowerment, and self expression. Sometimes people's throat chakras are not healthy because they don't have the courage always to express their true selves. I personally feel that self empowerment can override courage because if you want to achieve something bad enough,
Mhm.
you'll do it. And there have been times in my life where I did it scared.
Mhm.
Like this podcast, not this particular show, but just starting this podcast, I definitely kind of started in a nervous disposition because that was that self empowerment, and I'm always a little nervous right before each show. Like that's just me. I think that's the cancer in me.
Mhm.
I'm always in my shell, and I have to almost like give myself permission to come out of the shell.
Right.
If that makes
Right.
sense. But but yeah, so tell us, Winston. Like I know you've been choreographing for
Hmm.
years,
Hmm.
right? Tell us about the first time, if you could remember, that you choreographed a dance piece and then performed it in a live show. Like, what did courage look like?
Oh,
How did self empowerment show
yeah.
up? And lastly, how did it feel to express yourself
Uh-huh.
via that gift of yours,
Uh-huh.
that gift of dance?
Uh-huh. That is in high school.
Okay.
That happened in high school. That happened senior year in high school. We did not have a dance program in my high school. But
Okay.
we had two shows. One was like like specifically for seniors, like a senior variety show, and then another one was more all school performance show, and I don't remember what that was called. The senior variety show happened
Okay.
first, and we had a number of different. There were skits and different things that we were all doing, and I decided to replicate Cameo's Coca-Cola commercial. Um,
Okay.
Cameo from with Cameo the group, and I forgot the name of the
Yeah.
lead, right? And um, so we did a dance to that music, and I choreographed. And it was short. It was a short little thing.
Yeah.
But from that, the next bigger show, I felt like I want to do this again. I'm going to do this again. And
Yeah.
so it was me and maybe one, two, three, four friends of mine. And I
Uh-huh.
started to choreograph this piece and it started to fall apart. And it started to fall apart because, some people weren't taking it seriously. I didn't.
Okay.
I was being very like, you know, are you here? Are you not here? Let me know. Da, 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 because that's the first time I'm dealing with the pressures of saying and putting out there that you're going to choreograph a piece and then you have to show it, right? um,
Sure.
and
Sure.
in the end, they all dropped out. And
Mm.
I decided that, and this definitely comes from my parents' rearing as well, in addition to my own natural way of being. I was like, I already said that I was going to do this thing, so I'm going to do it. And so I did a solo. I choreographed a solo. I did. I
I love it.
and performed it in front of the whole school. And mind you, this is without having any dance training at all. This is just based off of
Sure.
seeing dance on TV, seeing fame, right? And like seeing what dance
Yeah.
movements are and kind of replicating that thing, but there was a lot of heart in it. And
Sure.
and it was a tough room because folks have stuff to say all the time, and it
All the
was
time.
videoed, and you can hear them on the video talking what they're talking. Um,
Okay. Okay.
and but I just knew that I needed to fulfill that commitment. A, B, that I wanted to do it, and I wasn't going to let anyone stop me from doing it, whether it
Okay.
was malicious or whether it was unintentional. I still wasn't going to let anyone or anything stop me from doing the thing that I felt
Yes.
and knew in my gut that I should be doing. And
Okay.
yeah,
How did it feel while you were on stage?
it felt good. And it's the weirdest thing, right? Because a lot of people are afraid to do solos.
Yeah. That would be me.
Because you're on the stage like by yourself with the hot lights on
By
you.
yourself. Uh-huh.
I think for me, it felt good because not only because I was doing dance and I'd created this thing, but that I completed it. And I had other pressures too.
Okay.
We also had a senior thesis that was due around the same time. Like it was there was a lot going on at that time.
Sure. Sure.
So I think I felt the joy of accomplishment, um,
Yeah.
in addition to the joy of presenting it. And
Yeah.
my dad came up to me afterwards and said something like, teenagers' minds. As a teenager, you hear stuff from your parents like, right? So I'm trying to go
Right.
back into but he said something like, I really could tell that um, something like he could tell that was something I really wanted to do because that was a tough room. And to get up in front of to do. There was
Yeah.
also like a pride in it. Like you didn't let it. I think he was proud that I didn't let anything scare me from doing the thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah. So courage was
Yeah,
front and
it
center.
was front and center. It was front and
Okay.
center because I did not do. I basically did fusion, but didn't know what fusion was. And I don't even.
Sure.
It was even closer to. It was fusion in that the actual dance steps was more like modern dance steps, but it
Okay.
had, because we grew up in that age of hip hop, it had that undercurrent kind of energy and understanding of rhythm,
Okay.
but no technique, none at all. And ignorance is bliss. Didn't even know I didn't have the technique like that. I was, this is how I'm creating it in my head. This is how it's coming, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Um, thank
Congratulations.
you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
huge. That's but multidimensional
Hmm.
authenticity.
Hmm.
This is this whole theme,
Right.
and you are sharing that
Right.
because everyone could not have done that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, audience. So this is funny. Okay.
Hmm.
One day I'm talking to Winston. Now I'm not in New York at this time. I've left. I don't know how long ago I had left, and we were probably friends for about 15 or so years by now, maybe a little more. And as a side note, we're going on 30. Like we're somewhere between 28 and 30 years of friendship now.
Hmm.
I love
The
it.
thing.
Okay, so this dude randomly says that he was thinking about going on a singing audition.
Hmm.
And I was like, huh? What? Huh? And he said, oh, yeah, I can sing. Did I not tell you that I can sing? And I, just from knowing his mannerisms, I could like kind of see what he was saying. I'm like, oh my God, his gestures and everything. I'm like, no.
Uh-huh.
Audience, can you say flabbergasted? And before you say flabbergasted, when I called to follow up, dude had got it. He landed the gig.
Hmm.
He's a whole singer. We had been friends. He had never mentioned this at
Yeah.
all. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Multi-dimensional, y'all. Just totally authentic. Real talk. Real talk. So, Winston, will you please share what that felt like
Hmm.
from the moment you decided that you wanted to perform as a vocalist, like independent of the dance culture you had immersed yourself in?
Hmm.
Like, how did courage, self empowerment, how did that show up? Just going to the audition,
Hmm.
showing up at the rehearsals, and then performing.
Hmm.
And did you have a solo there too?
There are a couple of places I had a solo. Yes.
See,
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love
Uh,
this. So yeah, tell us about that. How you kind of, it's not like you switched, but you just incorporated another gift into your
yeah.
life.
Yes, it's not like I switched at all. It is I um how do I want to say it? It's like I tapped into another gift that was always
Yeah.
there, and that
Yeah.
was growing in the back of my head. So singing and humming a tune is something I always did as well as a little kid, and like knowing the lyrics, like I said,
Yeah.
right? Knowing the lyrics. My father was a singer, and he used to sing in
Ah,
he used to sing in a band in Guyana, and then him
I
and his
didn't know
friends
that.
came to New York, and he was singing in a band here in the States in New York, and
Okay.
yeah, so. I got to, he had stopped, of course, because especially by the time my brother was born, which is like 4 years after me, a little bit after my brother, he had stopped because it's the regular thing. You know, you're a father of two, you have a wife, like you can't split your focus in that way. You need to make sure that you can take care of your family. And but
Okay.
I did catch that tail end. so I basically, a couple of times he brought me to rehearsal. And this is band like back in the day with a rhythm section and a horn section and a blah blah blah. Sea of
Okay.
West Indian men, Guyanese men, and so I was in the middle of the music, right?
Okay.
But
Yes.
also absorbing my father singing in a very
Yes.
organic way. Um, Ironically, he
Wow.
never thought I could sing. When I was younger, he didn't think
Sure.
I could sing. And I, so I didn't really, I would just sing songs. I was actually working on my voice, not really knowing it, right? Trying to replicate notes, trying to sing a Prince song. So I really developed my falsetto
Mm.
before I understood what a falsetto fully was, right? You know what I mean? Like all of those
Yeah.
different, getting an understanding of approach to music and an approach to singing a song and how you can do it
Yes.
differently, how you can shape the words and the vowels in a particular way. But all of that was happening organically along the way, real regular.
Yes.
And at one point, so now let's see, I'm already choreographing, I'm doing all of that stuff. I bump into someone that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. She was in the show at Symphony Space. I was a dancer doing Afro-Brazilian dance, and she was playing the instrument. And we bump into each other on the streets, like, "Hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Did what's new?" And she happened to mention she was in a choir at Riverside Church, and something in me
Mm.
just said, "Let me reveal the thing that's always been in the back of my head." So I just said to her, I was like, I always wanted to be in a choir because I didn't grow up in the church in that way. And she
Sure.
said, "Oh," like she didn't know either, right? Because she's thinking dancer. And she said, "Well, I could give
Mm.
you the director's number." And I said, "Okay." So I got the director's number. I called her. Um, she invited me to come do an audition. Um, oh wow. I'm having a memory.
Okay.
But let
Okay.
me complete this thought. And then she just said, you could sing tenor, but I'm going to put you in the baritone bass section. The quality of your voice would go in that section.
Yeah.
The thought why I just paused is because I just remembered that before that, I auditioned for Rent, the musical. I auditioned,
Ah.
yeah, years before that. I auditioned for the
Okay.
second Broadway cast. Um, and that's funny because I was scared about the vocal audition because I at that point I hadn't really had any vocal training for
Sure.
show. I was like, the dance I'm gonna be fine. I was scared about the vocal.
Uh-huh.
I got through the vocal with flying colors and got cut from the dance audition
Oh. Oh my
because I
gosh.
didn't understand that thing of I moved too much like a dancer and they wanted people who looked like regular
Mm.
people because of the story. I didn't adjust the way I
Yeah.
moved. Me and everybody else that was like spotting our turns and whipping around, and we all got cut. Nonetheless,
Yeah.
I yeah, so
Wow.
I
Okay.
share that to say I didn't have I only had the vocal training of listening to real singers, right? Along the way through the 70s and the 80s, real vocalists through social music, and hearing my father and doing my own thing. So I was a little surprised that she was just like, "Yeah, you're gonna go here," right? And so I was in the choir, and from there got a vocal coach, um, and she went to conservatory school, so she was teaching me bel canto singing technique and rounded vowels and all of that stuff, which is how they teach you to learn opera singing. and
Okay.
she also was Caribbean. She was from Trinidad. So she was like, the technique doesn't stop when you change the genres. You can hold that technique and sing
Mm.
jazz, right? And sing the blues. You're just shifting the coloring of it. Yes? So the
Mm.
technique
Mm.
is singing pure, singing in the center of the note, singing those kinds of things, but then you color
Mm.
that thing. So I learned from Gail, and also Nedra, who was the director of the choir, and that's how I was so prepared to go into the auditions to get the solo,
Yeah.
right? But it's not something I planned. I didn't say I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. It's something that
Yeah.
I was going with the urge and the messaging without questioning it, right?
Good.
I
Yeah.
purposely
Mm.
didn't question it. I didn't question why are you doing this thing or why are you right?
Yes. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
felt like it was the right thing I was supposed to be doing, and so I did it. Um,
I love
and if
it.
I didn't do those steps, I would not have gotten that gig that audition. I wouldn't have been prepared for it. Yeah.
Sure. Similar to you, as a little girl, I used to hum a lot
Mm,
and sing. I would have full blown out concerts
hmm
in the kitchen while I was cleaning up, you
hmm
know. But if I ever say that I'm gonna go on an audition, I need you to question it.
Okay.
Because I know and still know that is not one of my gifts. Please question it. Like,
Okay.
wait a minute. Wait, Tashi.
Too funny. Yes, indeed.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, so your self confidence and empowerment. Let's talk about it, or let's talk about them, I should
Mhm.
say. Did someone encourage you and or pour into you to help develop those
Mhm.
qualities? Were they innate within you and grew stronger over time, or a combination of that?
It's 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 definitely a combination. Um, I definitely have a strong sense of self, but I
Yeah.
also audit myself as well, right? So eh, I'm thinking about and working on refining the things that maybe is not quite right about how I'm engaging or all of those things. So I'm constantly kind of growing in those ways. But even within that,
Hmm.
I definitely always had a strong sense of self. Um,
Okay.
and then in addition to that, I have two parents who also have a strong sense of self, right?
Okay.
In their own
Okay.
ways, right? And so they're modeling it by being who they are naturally.
Yeah.
Yes. And so,
Yes.
and I have a younger brother who has a stronger. So I don't quite know any, if we had more siblings, I don't quite see how any of them could not have a strong sense of self, right? In in
Yeah.
our household, I don't, I would be
Sure.
surprised. Um, so it's definitely a blend of both. It's definitely a blend of both.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
I think environments and the experiences in environments help you to understand more, right? So I said I went to
Yes.
Catholic school, but I went to Catholic school in Brooklyn in the
Okay.
70s. And so there's a lots of experiences there, right? One of the things you learn at that time, you learn is you have to really present being self-assured even if you're scared, right? You have
Right.
to. There's no way that you're not going to get through if you
Yes.
don't. And so in those moments, because we all get scared at some point, it's part of human nature and
Sure.
development. But in those moments, I learned I learned to present not being scared while I'm scared, which I still carry to this day. So I think it's
Yeah,
some of who I am. It's some of the modeling from my parents and because they were being their authentic selves. It's some
sure.
from the environments and the experiences in the environments. All of those things layer on top of each other.
Yeah, okay, I get
Yeah.
that. I know for me, I don't know if I knew if I had a strong sense of
Mm-hmm.
self growing
Mm-hmm.
up. I was always
Mm-hmm.
very shy, very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I had to have had a strong sense of self on some level to try
Mm-hmm.
things, you
Right.
know? And I think as I tried things and received feedback, it helped to enhance my
Right.
confidence. But it definitely took some time and self talk,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of self talk
Mm-hmm.
to try things and then just to do it and put myself out there, come out of my shell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think for me, I had the different experience, which is I had such a strong sense of self that either people would be like, "Oh, he's good," and they would focus on the other kids who were maybe struggling,
Oh,
or I'd have
uh,
people who wanted to challenge the fact that I had a strong sense of
okay.
self, right? And
Yeah.
so I had to learn how to deal with those unexpected challenges um, in all of the ways that they come about and not let it dim my light.
Yes.
That's part of my path. And I had to accept that that's part of my path and just and move with it. Yeah.
Yes. I love that you say that because audience, you know I call myself the vibrational midwife because I assist individuals in birthing high vibrations.
Hmm.
And it's interesting when people will say or do things with the intention to dim your light.
Hmm.
Like you have to find it within yourself to be like, no, I'm going to shine
Hmm. Hmm.
no matter what. I'm gonna,
No matter what. And
yeah,
some people, it's better for you to shine right, continue shining right in front of them.
yeah,
Some people, it's better
yes,
for you to move away and leave them
yes,
there and shine.
yes. Look,
Yes.
yes.
Take your light
You stay over
someplace
there.
else, right? Yes. And
Yeah,
then,
I love
and then
that.
it's learning. You learn when is the better time to do one versus the other. You
Mm,
learn you learn when someone has done something to dim your light. You learn whether it's coming from a place of just their own insecurities or it's coming from a malicious place, right?
yes.
You get to learn all of those different energetic nuances. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, so before we speak on a recent project of
Hmm.
yours, Winston, I want to talk about communication as it pertains to speaking and active
Hmm.
listening. People who are not familiar with chakras are shocked when they realize that one of the qualities of the throat chakra is having good listening
Yeah.
skills. Okay.
Hmm.
And I feel like you, Winston, you are such a cool person to have a conversation with.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like I always have fun in our conversations. We're always going to laugh
Right.
at some point.
Yes.
But I feel that you are an awesome listener. So, audience, if you're in his presence, there's eye
Hmm.
contact, right? There's eye contact, there's facial expressions, there's rolling of the eyes if need be. And then if you're on the phone, he it's quiet. He's listening. He's not trying to talk over you to get a point across or to say what's on his mind. He's actively listening to you. And then he's giving you the uh-huh. Okay, you're
Right.
finished? All right. So, and I love this is on his mind. And what I like about that, Winston, is I've always felt heard,
Mhm.
and I appreciate that.
Oh,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I'm glad to hear
Yeah, yeah.
that.
So I'm curious about this awesome listening skill that you
Mm-hmm.
have. Everyone doesn't have it. A lot of people listen to respond and not to understand,
Mm-hmm.
right? Did you learn this skill from your family and friends just growing up, or did you develop it as a result of not feeling heard yourself?
Mm-hmm. That is a good question. I will start by saying I can't say that I can't say that I had times where, a lot of times where I felt like I wasn't heard myself. And my response to not being heard is to, well, socially, right? Separate from work. Socially, my response to not being heard is to leave you right there and move on, right? Right? Because I don't have time to waste, right?
So, Winston,
Yeah.
yes.
At work, when you can't always do those things, what I do is I no longer give my energy into the space. So you don't want to hear me, then I will not be speaking verbally, right? I'm going to do my things through actions. Either which way you're going
Okay.
to hear me, right? Right?
Right. You're still going to hear it.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's the only way that I can negotiate it in in those realms.
Sure.
Um, but my listening skills, I think I'm gonna say natural. I think although I developed into someone who didn't have a lot of who doesn't always have a lot of patience, when I was really younger, patience is one of the things that they would put on my report card. And I had a lot of
Oh,
patience. Um,
yeah.
but I also think I was not, I was very, I wouldn't say I was shy, I was very discerning. So
Okay.
when I started Catholic school, I remember not really engaging verbally with my peers for a couple of weeks, past the normal, hello, good morning. In Catholic school, you have to, back then we had to say Pledge of Allegiance and we had to do an Our Father and we had to do a Hail Mary. Like, I talked,
Yeah,
absolutely, but I
yeah.
observed a lot. And I still
Okay.
do. I just don't take so long, right? And sometimes I do it in
Yeah,
real
yeah.
time. So I think that exercise of being quiet and fully observing everyone and um, fed into the development of having good listening skills, if I were to answer that question.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I think, and then I also think there's a part of my personality that if I have friends or people that's talking to me about a particular topic, they may want my opinion. I need to hear and understand everything. I need to hear all their
Yeah.
facts. I need to pick up what I think they're not saying. I need to pick up
Mm-hmm.
how they're saying what they're saying in order to give an
Mm-hmm.
honest opinion about it. And if I'm not actively
Yeah.
listening, I can't do that. Right?
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. I love that about you.
Mm.
So lastly,
Hmm.
bef- um, but certainly not
Hmm.
least, please tell us about your series Conversations with Rocco.
Oh, so that came out of a class that I took when I was at U Chicago, and just really melded with my way of thinking, right? So we had to engage with a piece of artwork. I always loved Rothko paintings. Um,
Okay.
it's the paintings with the color fields. A lot of times it's like three different colors. They're huge. They're in museums all over the world.
Okay.
And when you see it in person, there's so much texture and subtle variation of color within the color spaces that it was always interesting and it always spoke to me.
Okay.
And so I basically decided to engage with a Rothko painting, and I did research on the year he painted it. I did research on what else happened during that year in the world.
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
I did research on him as an artist and his personal life and saw a lot of connections to in that year. That was the first time there was like broadcast television that happened, and he dealt with a lot of emotional challenges, right, due to the experiences
Okay.
of being in Europe during the time of the war with the Nazism and all of those different things, and escaping the terrors of that. And
Okay. Okay.
so I linked that to, in my head, I was like, okay, so I definitely believe, and as part of my scholarship, that we have these embodied literacies, right? That and we are broadcasting information through our bodies, which
Sure.
went with the research of the first TV broadcasting. And as people of African descent, um, all of the experiences that we have had historically, right, that possibly lives in our bodies and transferred from generation to generation,
Yeah.
and how breath is something that we just need to do for our bodies to live, right?
Yeah.
But breath is something that we need to do to connect with, to move, to connect with, to speak, to connect with, to sing. Like all of those
Yeah.
things needs breath.
Absolutely.
It needs
Yeah.
air. And so I just wanted to explore that and have that be in conversation with this Rothko painting. And
Painting.
um, I I went through. It had a little bit of movement in it,
Uh-huh.
but I also went to different points in front of the painting and expressed a different emotion just by breathing. So it shifted. I shifted the way I was breathing to express the different emotions, and then
Yeah.
walked through the audience and left them singing a
Mm.
part of Paul Robeson's song Deep River, right? And I left them and went
Mm.
into and left. So when I left, I was going into another gallery space. They couldn't see me, but they could hear my voice echoing through, and that's how the piece ended. Yeah.
Oh.
And so that series, I want to do engagements with Rothko in different museums that
Yes.
that it's part of an exhibit. And so that's that work that I want
Yes.
to get back to and extend that. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And thank you, Winston, for creating space with As the Chakras Spin. It's definitely, this was an awesome episode. I had so much fun vibing with you.
Yeah,
Before we close out, say it
I
again.
am too. I absolutely am too. You have your questions brought up some memories and thoughts that I had not thought about in so long.
In a while.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's nice to have an opportunity to not be. Of course, it happened because I know you and I feel comfortable with you. Yes, and but
Yeah.
also your questions really provoke those thoughts and ways of being. So thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. So before we close out, please share with the audience any social media platforms or email addresses, etc., in case someone would like to contact you with any questions or to connect in general.
So I do have an Instagram account. It's my name.
Yep.
I have a public Instagram account that's my name, so you can
Okay.
find me on Instagram. And I have a website, which is tRúe cultureandarts.com.
Say it again.
tRúe cultureandarts.com. So it's
Okay.
pronounced Tru, but it's spelt like the word true.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And um, from there, you can link to a number of different things.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Winston, and thank you, audience, for tuning in to another episode of As the Chakras Spin. Go ahead and click that subscribe button and tell a friend. See you next time. Peace and light. Thank you for listening to As the Chakras Spin. You can find all episodes at TashiKDCooper.com. To learn the health of your chakras, you can schedule a chakra reading directly on my website. Until next time, peace.